Judy, all I need to say is
Yeah, I was on the agenda. I'll just sit here and be quiet.
Who are you and what have you done with the real estate?
Should I fall out of my, just fall out?
Play it twice if you're under duress.
Got
You all
10
know,
seconds.
y'all know me so well.
So where are the agendas?
they're all out, they're all out front.
I didn't get one either.
It's 5:30. I'd like to call the Green Lake Township Board of Trustees meeting to order on March 11th, 2025. Judy, can you do a roll call, please?
Biganowski.
Yeah.
Kramer here, Radke,
Here.
West. Here. McDonald.
Here.
Merrick.
Here.
And please note in the minutes that Paul Biondo is absent and excused. Please.
Okay, at this point in time, I'd like to ask if you have a smart device or anything that makes noise, you could put it on vibrate or silent, that'd be greatly appreciated. With that being said, let's rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there any additions, subtractions to the agenda?
Yes.
What would they be?
Under new business, I would like to add updating Saxony account. We discovered this week that one of the Saxony accounts, the signatures did not get changed over to Andy and myself, so we do need a board motion in order to move the signatures over. And then the other thing I would like to add, if I could move that up under, probably under either reports or postponed business, the insurance
Oh,
discussion
you
that I
do them?
sent out, yeah.
I think we put that over the treasurer above the bank rec. So we got it in here.
He's still, oh, yes, he's still here, okay,
So put it before bankruptcy?
yes.
Okay,
Anything else?
that's it.
Okay, hearing none,
See how we've got the treasurer's thing under postpone? Up above that is where, Mr. Banner's been over the insurance discussion.
with
And
that
then under
being,
new business will be, Saxony Bank.
If I remember right, when we were talking about insurance, we said we're gonna bring back,
correct.
and that's, I think, the appropriate place in this.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended, including or adding insurance update with, in front of, postponed business and updating Saxony account at the end of new business. Support.
We have a motion by Merrick, supported by Baganowski. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carried, 6-0. Next item on our agenda is the approval of the consent agenda, which contains minutes of 2/11 of 25, 2/20 of 25, the treasurer's report and bills. Is there anybody of this board wishing to move an item for discussion?
I just had a question on the minutes. One,
So we got to do that.
Hmm?
You gotta remove it.
Yeah, which one?
the February 20th minutes, just the motion, I guess the motion was, on the table, and
We can put that in new business, Mark.
Yes, we'll take that, no, we'll move that under treasurer bank issues, under postponed business.
Okay.
Anything else?
That was the 20th, Pat.
Yeah, 2/20/25 minutes. Any member of the public? Any member of staff? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda with the removal of 2/20/25 minutes to be placed under postponed business, third item.
I'll make a motion where we approve the consent agenda with the removal of the February 20th minutes to be discussed under postponed business under treasurer bank rec issues.
Support.
We have a motion motion by Merrick, supported by Kramer to approve the consent agenda with removal of the 2/20/25 meeting minutes under postponed business. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Kramer, yes. Radke,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Merrick,
Yes.
and Baganowski.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Next item is a declaration of conflict of interest. Does any board member here have any direct declaration of conflict of interest on any topic on the agenda? Hearing none, we'll put no conflict of interest reports. I see we have our fire chief, emergency services director, Chief Case. We have your written report. Is there anything in addition that you would like to add?
I don't have anything.
So noted. Trying to think, let's see, CPO, anything else? Jason, we have the information. Do you have anything in addition that you would like to, present?
No, sir.
Very good. So we'll move, yes, we'll move on. Oh, I was looking at his water glass. We'll go to public comment. This is an opportunity for anybody, member of the public, to rise, go to the podium, state their name and address, and, speak their mind for not to exceed 3 minutes, and please direct your comments to this board through me. Is there any member of the public wishing to address this board on any subject matter? Seeing none, we'll move on to postponed business. First item under postponed business was the Unum insurance for Delta, or dental and the likes, vision and that. Judy was able to mail out the separate information last week. This was, been postponed since our discussions in November. We finally got it ratified, all the numbers in place, up to date, and as you'll notice, there's increased coverage at a reduced rate. Does any member of this board have a question? We do have a representative of the Manor Group in attendance.
It did block that rate in for a period of time too, unlike the other ones, if I remember right.
Correct.
We talked, I don't remember how long that was, and I think that's kind of important. 2 years?
Mr. Manor, if you could go to the podium, please.
Sure, I got a question. You guys, everybody got a question? I got a question.
Yeah.
Page 3 of the handout is basic life, accidental death and dismembership. You got that? Do you have what we have?
I don't have it printed, I have it available.
Well, why don't you come and get mine?
I have an extra copy.
Oh, wonderful.
I love that instead of the board members.
Perfect.
So page 3 is basic life, option 1, option 2, are you there? My page 3 is.
Basic life AD&D, page, option 1, option 2.
Right, so just below the second box, it says, the Sun Life quotes do not include coverage for trustees. So I don't see any Sun Life anywhere.
That's why we didn't include it. Because it wasn't-
Right, so that's just a,
Our initial analysis had a number of carriers, Principal, I think we looked at MetLife.
just say it's on there by mistake, I don't want to.
That was a note from our previous report.
Not waste time, that's all I had.
Okay, Andy, you had a question or
There's
comment?
2 years was the dental lock-in on that? For that
So,
rate?
I believe the dental is a 2-year, there was, I think one of the coverages had 3, but 2 years was on the.
Oh, here it is. That's 2 years. Had I opened my packet again, I would have seen that, thank you.
So I guess, how does the board wanna do this? Do we want to do like dental, individual, vision? Cause he's offering dental, vision, life, and also, dismemberment.
The accidental.
Accidental.
Death and dismemberment.
So how does the board wanna do it?
I can go through and give a quick summary of everything if you'd like to do it that way.
I think
solution there was to pull that apart. And so that's what we recommended. Unum came in very high or very good benefits and lower rates or competitive rates on every line. So that
Scott,
was part of it.
we can hear you talking up here, so please. Or you're listening and the gentleman to your right's talking. We can hear the conversation. I'm sorry, Kevin.
No, and that's fine, and so when we looked at the dental, for example, we were able to increase the coverage to, you know, with Unum, we could look at 2,000 or 3,000, with similar rates, so that would give everybody additional dental benefits. So we were trying to strategize, why would you wanna make a change? One of the big pain points that we kept hearing was Delta, was the networks were the issue. A lot of dentists, unfortunately, the younger dentists aren't signing the Delta Premier contracts, and so that's been problematic, I think, more locally. Unum, we offered parity with in and out of network, and we're seeing a lot of dentists nowadays go to, they're not even signing network contracts for the dental, so that poses a little bit of a challenge. The reason that is because they're getting higher reimbursements that way. So Unum should play well with any of the dentists around. We've even reached out to local dentists to, since that was the biggest pain point, to try to isolate which carrier would fit the best, hopefully. This may take a little tweaking further down the road, we don't know, you know, because we don't know everybody's dentist, you know, who they're using, so we're trying to give the broadest plan option for coverage for employees to use that way. So, you know, like I say, the Delta network is getting squeezed, so that was what's on that page. The vision, again, you know, pulling it apart from that health plan, that was the idea there, so that we could hopefully, you know, give that coverage availability to others. The basic life is you know, an option most carriers have. That this one actually saved a considerable amount of money, is why we like that, the Unum for that particular line. Annual premium that you're spending now is like $4,600. We're able to give you the same coverage for the Green Lake Township here, and was that a couple $1,000 almost in savings per year, so that was kind of a nice value there. Of course, we suggested that perhaps one thing you could look at doing is saving that money, where you could redirect it, and we recommended perhaps offering a short-term disability policy, so that way people that wanted that, or have the employer pick that up and you know, taking some of that savings and redirecting it to a disability benefit, which would be on the next page. I think most employees find that disability is one of those coverages that are really valuable. You know, it's not hard to take a couple months off, you know, with a sickness or accident. So that was our recommended employer programs, and then we included the next ones would be the accident and the voluntary life. Those two coverages would be made available if you so wish, but that would be at employee's cost, is what we had proposed there. So it would be a voluntary enhancement for those that wanted to enter into that, any of those policies or coverages.
Repeat which ones you said would be at the employee's cost. One I got was the accident.
The accident plan, yep, which is the second to the back, and then the very, very last one would be voluntary life.
Sure, all the ones that say voluntary are choice.
Choice, right.
The back ones, they say voluntary, like voluntary accidental death. It says voluntary, it's separate.
Well, I see that, voluntary short-term disability.
That's what means they choose.
And I'm looking at accident.
That one doesn't say voluntary.
It doesn't say.
Accident plan doesn't say
And then
voluntary.
Kevin, as far, I don't think my mic is still. Kevin, as far as that basic life A&D, that was another one that the price, policy price was guaranteed for 2 years, correct?
Correct, yeah, so we wouldn't see a change in premium on that. Typically, life and disability and those coverages, you know, we would renew them each year, and initially this company was giving us a 2-year rate guarantee.
So am I right, like, as soon as we wanted a time to make a motion to discuss the different plans that would be?
Do we need to do a motion
Because there's
to
so many
remove
different.
us out of the current ones that we're in, or just to
We already
put
did
us
that.
into the new one?
We did non-division.
We did not do that.
Oh, I thought we'd whacked that.
So I'd make a motion that we adopt Unum Plan number 2, and remove ourselves from any other dental plans that we're currently involved with.
The dental, the number 2.
Number 2, yeah.
I'll support that.
Effective what date?
When are we able to get this started?
Thank you.
If we made it effective this week, could we get it going, or is it gonna take a month or 6 months or a year?
As soon as possible.
I was gonna say, I think we can get it done for 4/1 at the latest, would be 5/1.
I mean, that, and that we get it done as quickly as we're able to get processed through our provider.
Yep.
Okay, we have a motion by Merrick, supported by Bagnowski to go with unit number 3.
Number
2, I'm sorry. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Radke,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Merrick,
Yes.
Baganowski,
Yes.
and Kramer, yes.
I'd like to make a motion to withdraw from the current vision plan and adopt the Unum plan as quickly or as smoothly as we're able to with our provider.
Okay,
I'll second.
we have a motion by Merrick, supported by Kramer to remove ourselves from the vision plan of Blue Cross Blue Shield and go into Unum.
Would you consider also including in your motion, this is so that employees who, or staff who are not currently carrying our health insurance will now be able to?
That can be added as part of the discussion right earlier, but yeah, we can add that into the motion if you'd like.
It's just, it makes it easier for, because we're going through stuff with them right
Yep.
now, and the minutes are not.
Perfect.
Does anybody need that reported back? If not, we'll do a roll call on that, please.
McDonald,
Yes.
Merrick,
Yes.
Baganowski,
Yes.
Kramer, yes, Radke,
Yes, motion
and
carries.
West.
Yes.
Sorry, not Sherry. Motion carried, thank you, Sherry.
Someone else have the DAD, and I'm not sure.
So the basic life we currently do have for all employees and board members. And I will make the motion that we go ahead with the Unum life insurance for savings of $2,000-something and remove ourselves from our current policy.
I'll support that.
We have a motion by Kramer, supported by Merrick, to remove ourselves from the current policy with basic life, AD&D, and go with the Unum.
Question for Kevin, what's age reduction schedule mean?
So if you take the $25,000, if we're looking at option, we've got 2 options there, option 1 and option 2. I would only suggest that we clarify that, but whichever option, if you do the $25,000, which is the same you have now, at those ages, that would be a benefit reduction. So you take the $25,000 at age 65, that would reduce by 35%, and then at age 70 it would reduce that basic benefit by 50%. We don't have the contract with the current carrier, so the reason those other sections are blank is because we don't know what their schedule is. It's probably similar. Most of the group life contracts are geared that way.
Really, they reduce as you get older?
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
They don't go to zero though on it, do they?
They don't, as long as you're gainfully employed. Typically, I've seen contracts, and again, I don't know what you currently have, but I've seen contracts that, like, even at age 80, they'll drop down to like a very small, like a $5,000 benefit or something like that. They'll even reduce further, so, that's, yeah,
I know
typical
one that
most.
goes to zero, so,
What's that?
I know one that goes to zero.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't see that normally, but that is possible, sure.
And I would like to include in the motion, Mary Jo, that we will go with the $25,000 policy, option 1. Andy, are you okay with that?
Yep. I mean, yes.
So we have
Yes, ma'am.
Kramer, supported by Merrick, to go with option 1, to opt out of our previous. Any further discussion? Let's roll call that.
Merrick,
Yes.
Baganowski,
Yes.
Kramer, yes, Radke,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
and McDonald.
Yes. One.
I'll support for discussion.
Yeah.
Short term, is that what we're talking?
Short-term disability.
Short-term option one.
That'd be-
Motion by Merrick, supported by Baganowski.
Option one's the more inexpensive.
Correct.
Two.
So, again, elected and appointed officials, this is not gonna apply to, is it?
Disability benefits can apply actually to anybody who's like full-time salary, just like the life insurance. That was a point we had with some carriers. This is a benefit that could be coordinated with current,
I'm asking you, I mean, Marv gets paid whether he's
right?
in a coma or not, so this isn't gonna apply, is it?
So, this actually would apply, we had to, and I don't know if you still have the language, I didn't bring that with me, there was some language that, talked about public officials and, while most coverages are coordinated, this included, board positions. Yep, trustees.
Doesn't make any sense, cause we're gonna get paid no matter what,
Mm-hmm.
and then we get.
So if you're in a
So
coma,
the
you can
disability is
take
not substituting for a loss, cause we don't have a loss. Alright,
And this is something, this is a particular area that you could look at perhaps readdressing that, how salaries are designated via disability at some point, and, we talked about it a little bit, but, perhaps having to appoint somebody new and additional payroll dollars, if this plan is paying a public official, perhaps there's an adjustment you might wanna do on the other side.
Well,
This is the insurance policy itself.
but how many employees did they rate this under? Because they shouldn't have counted all of us, and maybe it should be less without.
It was the 14, I believe.
You guys see what I'm saying here? We shouldn't be included in that, this should come down. It's just senseless for us to be included.
Should be just the employees.
So,
We
would
could
you
exclude-
re-quote it with less people?
Yep, absolutely.
That's what I would like to see happen.
Yeah, we could exclude categories of employees, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with
Alright,
that.
so let's exclude elected.
My motion, please, I'm gonna withdraw my motion, original motion. You second
Do we
that?
wanna wait until he comes back with numbers?
I'm good with moving forward, just removing elected officials.
Yeah, I'm good with that too, it's gonna be
So I'll
reasonable.
make a new motion that we adopt a new short-term disability as presented, except excluding elected officials from the policy. Effective as quickly as we're able to get it set up and running. And also for discussion, we have a policy for our firefighter EMS folks. This is an addition to that, correct?
This is a 24/7 coverage. I believe what you would have there for like firefighters
If they
would be
get hurt on work.
on the job, right? So, yeah, so this would
So this
be
will be,
at home if they were
Right.
roofing their shed and fell off and busted a leg or tree stand or whatever.
because there was some discussion we were meeting with you about, there's already a policy for some of our staff. Why we want this, well, this is because this covers
It's-
more than
Yep,
we're
heart attack, stroke, accident, home, yeah, you name it. So, and there would potentially be some coordinations with things like that or social security. So, and that would be, something that would have to be, per injury or whatever, so.
Very good.
Andy, can you include in your motion which option you want, one or two?
Oh, that was number one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll still second it.
Okay, any other questions? Mr. McDonald?
Under, the maximum amount, is that $1,000 per week?
That is per week.
Sherry, any questions? Anybody else? Hearing none, roll call it, please.
Biganowski,
Yes.
Kramer, yes, Radke,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
and Merrick.
Yes. Now, the next sheet I've got has like partial.
Yeah.
Missing something here.
I think you need to go to the last two pages.
These are the voluntary.
I think the page that's cut off would be the voluntary short term, so if you didn't do the employer paid short term,
Okay.
that was a say voluntary short-term, I'm not sure why that didn't come through, on the email that our office sent out, but that would have been the difference. So we wouldn't wanna do both,
Right.
you would just, yeah.
I just couldn't see what that was, I want to make sure I wasn't missing something that we didn't talk
Yeah.
about.
So Kevin, on the two that are voluntary, is there an amount of employees that you need to have in order to have the policy? Or are you gonna go with one, are you gonna go with 10?
There is
Greater 20% or 10?
20% is typical.
or 10 enrolled, it says.
Yeah, the second page has that, the accident plan, oh, it does say that, 5% actually.
So Kevin, with the
So-
accident plan, that is kind of like the ducks plan, right? If you go to the hospital, you get paid a fee,
Correct.
and it's a flat rate that you get paid based on what,
Except they don't pay the duck advertising, so that's why the rates are
right?
competitive.
But it's,
Well, now I get it.
Yes, very similar to all the, what's known as the Aflac type products, right, it would pay directly to a person, that's the coverage that
so
was
you're
something.
sitting in a hospital, it's $300 a day, 365 days.
Right, so, and the idea behind something like this is it's the unexpected and the out-of-pocket costs associated with that, if someone falls out of a tree stand and they're off work for a couple months, yeah, we've got some of their income replaced, but that doesn't take into account maybe a spouse having to take time off work and all the extra.
It doesn't matter if they're working or not working, it's gonna,
This is a 24/7, yeah, absolutely.
so I'll make a motion that we enter into the plan, as soon as we can, assuming we meet the minimum number of employees who want to sign up.
Yeah, so on the life and the accident, we can put them both on there.
On both the accident and, voluntary
Yeah,
life.
as long as you need participation, you're fine. If you don't need participation, then we can't do that either, which, yeah, so.
I'll support that for discussion. So this should not cost the township a single dime. It's just totally voluntary, but no admin stuff on your end or nothing like that to cost us anything?
No additional fees, the only cost would be the additional payroll time,
Okay.
so, yeah.
And then I wasn't paying attention, I think I dozed off.
Here at our meeting.
Does this include board members hop on this one? And trustees?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Gotcha. Sorry.
So since this is voluntary, that's why I cover them both in one motion.
Well, say it the way it's listed on the paper. You said it different. So we're talking about the voluntary short-term disability, the voluntary.
I make a motion that we enter into the accidental, voluntary, it doesn't say voluntary on here, Dave, but I'll add it for you. The voluntary accident plan, the new one, and the voluntary life and accidental disability. It's voluntary at no cost to the township other than our clerk's salary. As soon as possible, pending that we can get enough employees to sign up.
Okay, we have a motion by Merrick, supported by Baganowski to allow staff eligible employees for voluntary life, A, D, and D, and accident claim at the employee's cost, no additional cost to the township other than a few seconds on payroll. Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Okay.
So my question is, on the voluntary life, the schedule by age, that's per 1,000 or per 10,000, what is that?
That is per thousand, the cost to the employee.
I think probably when we have our meeting
I'll go
next
over that.
Monday, then we'll probably be able to see if we're able to get the 10 participants.
Yeah, typically the life is not anything of an issue, because it's usually very competitive, and the initial enrollment includes guaranteed issue, so people with health questions, so they don't have to worry about getting disqualified, so.
Thank you. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
West,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Merrick,
Yes.
Biganowski,
Yes.
Kramer, yes, and Radke.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Thank you.
one account, which was for one of the milfoils, and the 813 was for the others. That put all that money, when I collected that money for taxes, it went into the general fund account on BSNA's paperwork. That's why, because those account numbers that I signed it up for, instead of being a 703, were the other accounts, which are general fund accounts. So I have a call into BSNA to figure out the best way to make these changes. Then I have to reach out to the auditor to make sure that he agrees. And Jill has come in, and we have talked a little bit about some of these things, and I'm gonna consult with her too, as well as how she feels is the best way. I figure if we got 3 people who agree that's the way we should make the changes, that's probably a sound accounting principle. If anyone has anyone else they'd like me to talk to, I'm more than happy to reach out to other individuals who are knowledgeable in this stuff.
So what about July 1 till 12/9? Was that messed up too?
When I made these changes, that changed other,
It went backwards?
it went backwards, yes. At least that's the understanding from what BSNA has been able to gather. I've now gotta talk to, I talked to the tax people, and I gotta talk to the general ledger people, because they have specialists in each module who have limited knowledge about what goes on and how the other modules work. So I'll probably have to call somebody else after this too, over in the BSNA world.
So had you done in real time in July, August, September, all the way through November, you could have done it and everything was fine, but in December, the screw up goes backwards to July. Is that what you're telling us?
I'm saying that that there is something that happened, we believe it was this, that went retroactive back many accounting periods.
Right, you didn't answer my question at all.
Yes.
I believe with the information I have that what you said was correct, that it went retro. I had the bank statements correct in June at the end of the year.
But had you been caught up as of December 9th, we wouldn't have to worry about anything.
No, because those bank statements would no longer be reconciled, because,
Well, but once you do them, they're done. You don't go back and do them a second.
but then the information in the account, the software would be incorrect, and we wouldn't know it until we got the
I
audit.
get that there'll still be a software issue on this.
If I may interject, there seems to be a language barrier. If I could,
Please.
Jill, would you be willing to translate, please?
Jill has some experience in this as an accountant. She's got a lot of background and knowledge, so I called her in to help me. She sat down in my office. I talked my language, she translated her language. We kind of have a little bit better understanding what's going on, and maybe,
Did you understand Dave's?
Yeah,
question?
so Dave, it really is that the trial balance of the general ledger has gotten out of whack due to this tax posting issue that happened subsequent to year end. There's different modules, there's like the cash receipting, there's the tax module, and there's a general ledger module. It doesn't appear that they all automatically talk to each other, so then you have to make entries to make everything be aligned. You know, Andy and I spent most of the afternoon together yesterday going over this, and I think we'll be able to figure it out. You know, I sent all of you, and I don't know if you pick up your trustee 1, 2, 3, 4 emails, but I copied you on the memo that I sent to Andy requesting all of the information that would be needed to get this caught up and reconciled. That one big account that always has like the $3 million overdraft looking, what that is that's where Andy receipts in the tax payments, but it's not posting or acting like the deposit was made on the books. So we've got to figure out what we need to do to get that in alignment with what was collected. That's kind of a clearing account where all the tax payments come in. We write checks out to the Green Lake if it's a Green Lake issue, if it's Beta, if it's the library, if it's the schools, whatever. It should end up being zero at some point in time, but it's kind of goofed up because it's not there. I don't know yet the extent of the ledger of what you use for budgeting and whatnot, Mark, how accurate that is right now, but Andy pulled most of the information for the big general account for me, and I'll start looking at that, and then we'll be getting together. I think that we can simplify things, and to find out if truly they can talk to each other, that would be the easiest way, because we really wanna have standard methodology and do it the simplest, most accurate way of doing it and recording, so we don't forget, as to what we need to book and when we need to book it. So I think we'll get there, we just need a little bit of time. You know, again, I'm doing this on a volunteer basis,
Yes.
which I'm fine with, but just realize that it's a lot to try to figure out right now, and BSNA is, as Andy mentioned, supported by different people in each of the modules, so you can't talk to one that goes, oh yeah, I know how the tax module has to act with the cash receipts one and whatnot, so we'll get there, but it's out of whack right now, so I got the trial balance of what should tie back to the audited financials from Trent and Company. We can tick and tie to make sure what does 6/30 look like today, to identify what accounts have had something happen to them since year end. We'll need to work with Trent then to get the adjustments made, because you wanna do it the simplest way, but it's not quite as simple as what you might think it is, because of the
These two tax
complexity.
accounts that he said were coded wrong, that 703, 801, whatever. Once those get put back the way they should have, is it gonna repopulate downstream and correct itself, or is it gonna have to be entries?
Yeah, I notice things that, I think there can be, better ways of posting things, you know, that we shouldn't be limited to just what BSNA is saying. This is the only entry you can make if you're making a deposit. You can only hit a cash account in one of these accounts. You know, such things as like when we move money out of the general checking to the investment account at Huntington, we should be able to just say, credit the bank account, debit the investment account. It should be that simple. We don't have a mechanism to do that other than on a general journal right now, which isn't the best way of doing it for bank recs. It should be, in my opinion, like recording it as though a deposit happened or an ACH, which is technically what happens online, but you know, that's been being done as a general journal right now. So I think there's ways to improve the use of the system. I think because we migrated, or you migrated, I'm saying we because I'm part of it now, we migrated off kind of QuickBooks and BSNA, and it kind of was like a hodgepodge of how we were recording things. We just have to use BSNA to its full capabilities, and I think that's not happening quite yet. So we'll get there.
My question was, if this switch-o occurred on 12/9/24, when you switch-o it back, is it gonna heal itself, or is you gonna have to do plugs and other entries?
We're probably gonna have to do adjusting entries, because I don't think it's automatically gonna go and fix what already posted. But Andy pulled a lot of data. I came home yesterday with a whole folder worth of stuff that I will be spreading out on my dining
We had
room
to get a
table.
hand truck to get it out there.
Yeah, looking for me, but you know, he did gather a lot of the info, but you know, what I would like, besides attacking the general checking account, is to make sure of all of the other bank accounts that we have, Saxony, the Travers, Credit Union one, you know, all of those, we can get those reconciled to the statements, so that we're at least making good progress, and hopefully a lot of that can be addressed before the next month meeting. We'll get there.
Andy,
Yes.
how are you gonna bring your, deputy treasurer into this thing?
Well, once Jill and I get some, I've been doing things the way that my first deputy showed me, which is the way Susie showed her. Some of those are not the best practices. I knew nothing else. Jill and I talked, and I said, I'm not comfortable, it's not wrong, but there's better ways to do it than this. And she said, absolutely. And I said, I'm thinking about this, and this, and she said, most of that's probably right. Maybe you could, so we're gonna work on coming up with a check sheet, a best practice on how we all do this, so everybody's doing it the same. And if I have that deputy or another deputy, or I get into a bus accident, someone has to come into the treasurer's office, there's gonna be a sheet that makes it very easy for anyone who's coming into the office to do the flow and make it happen.
Well, you and her doing it now, is the other gal in the system with you, so she knows what's going on, or is she gonna come in blank again?
I would say, Sherry, it would be better to let us figure it out first, and then when we come up with a good methodology, you know, she can be pulled into it, so that if Andy isn't around and she's making a deposit, does she have to make another entry besides just the cash receipting and whatnot? And I told Andy that, you know, I can assist with the documentation. I'm staying out of the system. I do not want access, being not a paid Green Lake Township person, but I can stand next to Andy and go, okay, this is what you need to do, and he can be doing it, but, you know, I don't wanna have access, I don't think that's appropriate, not being a paid Green Lake person.
And we've been doing some general ledger entries to capture different things, bank interest, ACH deposits, which don't show up on the bank rec as a deposit, shows up under, I can't think of the term right now, other, whatever, the one that you were liking,
Miscellaneous
miscellaneous
transactions.
transactions,
Yeah, miscellaneous
which is a
transactions.
really,
Catch-all.
it's a high probability of bad things happening
Yep.
when you're doing things that are miscellaneous or other. I don't like that. I want to find the way, and we believe we've got a way. I gotta talk with BSA to make sure that that is in fact gonna do it, where it's done through cash receipting versus a general ledger. So it's creating a deposit, a few more steps for us, but more trackable as to what it really is.
Okay, once you get the system up and going, now you're having, Mary Jo, and now you said Jason can be depositing money. How is that gonna work with your system?
It'll be,
Just go to a cash account? or-
they're gonna go in and do it just like they would now. Is some of the other stuff that we're having issues with, the ACHs that are coming from towns for their water payment, the state of Michigan, the DNR, or the state of Michigan payments for, revenue sharing, the DNR bill payments go into our general fund account when they're supposed to go into our tax account. So we have to write a check from the general fund account to the tax account to make it a tax payment. And then I have to take the tax payment and distribute it back to the Green Lake Township, because the township doesn't collect the bill money. The treasurer's office collects that and then disperse it. So there's a lot of little things that are being done inefficiently, creating more work on the bank rec side that are not the general, I got a payment for my short-term rental. That's not gonna change because that's in the system. It's pretty simple. Then making the deposit, and that is pretty simple. It's some of these other transactions that are just done by the treasurer's office.
Okay.
Okay.
Bill,
Yeah,
is there an
there's-
opportunity for you to sit down and meet with me and go over your first and second blush of what you think it might take to remedy the issues up to December 9th, and to make recommendations and an accounting checklist per se? So when you are not there, Margaret can come in and pick it up and follow and go along with it.
Yeah,
And I don't, my question is, you're right, you're not an employee, so the liability and the getting into the system, there's concerns. You've been, no offense, tracking our budget that I'm aware of since November 20th of 2016. You were very involved in our budget, in our fire, in our ambulance, ALS. You've got a pretty good tab on that. You were very protective of our tax money.
the thorn in your side, you can say. it.
I did not know, I would not say that. I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I appreciate all the volunteerism, but I believe this needs to be addressed with professionalism
Oh, I agree,
to ensure that we're proceeding down the right path.
I agree,
I
yeah.
do not want to use Trent as our accountant or our CPA. He is in fact our auditor. He's been, his other sister company, parent company, whatever you want to call it, has been gracious enough to help facilitate bank reconciliations in the past. We've had that in the prior administration. I would like to sit down and talk to you and see what we can work out, because I don't expect this in-depth cluster, it appears, so we have software issues, see if we can come to an understanding and agreement and bring it back forward.
Yeah, that'd be fine, cause I think think there's efficiencies that can be put in place, and as Andy said, you know, you wanna get away from doing things that are just general journals or general adjustments, because that looks like it could be suspicious. You know, having lived through more than a few embezzlements that I had to investigate at Munson and other employers, you don't wanna have any likelihood of someone doing something inappropriate. So we wanna find the best way to do it. And I agree, I think Trent and company shouldn't be as involved as they've been. I think that is somewhat of a conflict, even though he may have other staff he assigns to do it. It still is a little too cozy of a relationship. You know, I got trial balances from them at year end and what they had, and there were some pretty big adjustments they were making on cash, which probably related to the year-end bank recs getting corrected. You know, that's a little concerning. You know, we don't wanna have that going on. The only thing, in all honesty, a bank rec should be, what does your book say, what does the bank say? And you should reconcile between the two, and it should really be what checks didn't clear, what deposits didn't we get in the bank by month end? Might there be a service charge we didn't yet record? And maybe there's something else, but it should be minimal things other than the standard things, just like balancing your checkbook at home.
That was the premise that Dave has been asking for.
Yes, yes.
Unfortunately, with our modules and some of the software not communicating, it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's coding errors. It's what
But it
we
looks
put
like
in
the
for-
system can produce a bank rec that will list out the checks, you know, that haven't cleared. It can show the deposits that are in transit. So I think we can get to a workable spot for the board, because I don't wanna inundate you guys with like 80 million pages of stuff. It can be a one-page snapshot that's got most all the bank accounts on it, you know, and then we just attach the statements, so you can go, yep, the bank balance that we say here is what's saying on the bank, and we don't have any guessing of, is somebody plugging a number to just blow smoke and mirrors, you know, in front of you guys. So we'll get to there, but I need to digest what I got yesterday from Andy, but I should be able to come up with something, and, you know, perchance you, Marvin, Andy, and I can sit down and talk together, or,
Yes.
you know, I don't wanna like step on any toes,
No.
since none of you have authority over each other. I learned, you know, recently, but, you know, I'm happy to work on that and clarify with you, and I think we'll get there.
There's
You
a
know,
reason
even
I'm
things
asking.
like the Saxon account, you know, Andy and I talked, why do we need that one sitting out there if we've got a Huntington investment account? Let's have the minimal cash accounts that we need to be worried about reconciling, and not have all these little orphans out there that we don't even realize we don't have current signature cards on, because that's a big danger. If you had somebody that could still sign that was no longer here, they could go off with that money, and that bank's got a chunk of money in it right now. So there's controls and checks and balances, and, you know, going forward, I'd be happy until we had it working very smoothly, once we get caught up, of coming in and making sure things look appropriate, you know, like on a once a month basis, to just make sure it's in order. So I'm happy to do
Sounds
whatever
good,
you might
because
like.
as you mentioned, you know, budget
Yep, oh, I know.
needs to be done, and, you know,
Yeah, you need good
I
info
need-
to
yes.
start working on that.
And-
Yep, I
and Mark,
absolutely understand the time sensitivity of this.
thank you.
I think some of the issues are some of the different codings or deposits that are being done when stuff was set up, when maybe when we did the chart of accounts change. May not have got caught right, I don't know, because there's another bank rec I'm looking at that there should be no activity. But BSNA says there was activity in that account. But the bank doesn't have any activity, it's the same balance, it's been the same balance other than the interest coming in. So we've got to dig into and see why, and I don't know where to find this information. Jill happens to have that knowledge, so she's gonna be able to help me get some, find out where is this problem, we can then make that correction in that code. So when the bank rec, I go, start bank rec, here's all the information, add interest, it's done. Now I do that, and I've got a $77 difference between BSNA and the bank statement, because it said something happened in the bank, and I don't know what happened, because I don't know how to dig into it. This is a really good learning experience for me. I've already learned a lot with Joe, coming in for, what was it, 4 hours, 5 hours, something like that. We sat and talked, and she reassured me that some of my thoughts were right. She said, some of your thoughts aren't wrong, but there's better ways, and I'll help you do it. So
forward in that regards.
And I don't know if you trustees pick up your trustee Green Lake email, but I did copy you on that to just keep you informed of what I had asked for and what we were doing, so that you knew that we weren't just laying down, not acting on this, because I realized we want to get this monkey off Andy's back and get you guys in a comfortable spot. That's the goal.
Very good. Any questions of this board, from this board? Dave, are you willing to go an extra month, with our due diligence?
And a choice, so.
Well, I just wanna make
Get
sure.
it taken care of.
Okay, so Jill, if you can reach out in the next, short
Yep.
period of time, we'll go
Gotcha.
forward. Thank you. Any other discussion on the treasurer bank recs?
Yep.
We'll continue to leave this under postponed business for that.
Yeah, just that, I sent everybody a 4-page thing, probably no time to look at it, but it's from the Treasury Department. It talks about the mandatory, reporting to our board obligations
On quarterly, on some of that, and based on fund
Yeah.
uniform chart of accounts.
so that it's only quarterly that it's mandatory, but I was thinking maybe we should try and actually fulfill the requirements maybe next month.
I think we should exceed them.
Okay.
Exceed the minimum requirements, mandatory, best practice. I think it's on page 4 at the bottom, reference best practice. I did have some chance to read through it real quick. But yes, I'm in agreement that, we should comply with the Department of Treasury via the Uniform Chart of Accounts and all the financial reportings at max 3 months. We're close.
I was a little nervous opening your attachment because it wasn't from a township account, so I wasn't sure if it was something that may have hacked our system and sent out stuff to the county and infected them and shut them down again, so I will look at that now that I know that isn't back from you.
But on that same line, didn't we say that we were gonna have a special meeting at some point and decide what array of reports we want every month? We weren't gonna do that at a regular meeting, so it's still hanging out there with me, let's do
Yes,
that.
it'll probably be done once we get the system comfortable with knowing what we have, and then proceed with our budgets and the resolution preparation and all that stuff.
That timeframe, they should be able to print us every report that they can get out of that software.
Well, there's hundreds of reports.
Well, there's hundreds, but
I don't have enough
basic
paper in the
reports,
office to print.
so that we
Yeah.
can actually see what we want
Yeah.
to have them report.
That's why it might be easier to come into the office and I can show it on the screen versus printing 3 reams of paper. Seriously, 3 reams of paper for every report that we can pull in DSA.
So, okay, yes, that's still sitting out there. And we'll get that together and bring it back, and we'll have a special meeting going over what we can do in that regards, reporting process and progress. Any other comments, discussions? We'll continue to leave this item on the agenda as a
Absolutely.
reminder and as a goal. Thank you. We'll move on to the next item, which would be minutes of February 20th. Mr. McDonald, you had a comment in that regards.
Yeah, the motion doesn't seem to make sense to me. Made by Viganowski. It says, review of Green Lake Township Employee Handbook, recent changes proposed by Township Labor Attorney is on the table for review. And that was seconded, but it doesn't
Say anything.
say anything. On the table for approval.
they altered it up until 3:15 AM, I think it was. So what Dave's comment was is, we're gonna accept it as it is, and if there's any changes that the Senate was gonna implement, that he gave us the authority to adjust it to to stay in compliance with that stuff.
But, so how do you want to adjust this wording?
The verbiage in here is not right.
And it doesn't seem,
Oh, that was on, yeah, I guess, the layout.
Viganowski motion, review of Green Lake Township plan of recent changes proposed by the township labor attorney is on the table for review. Motion supported by Merrick.
there's no motion.
There's no motion. It doesn't say to adopt or to accept or to throw it on the floor and kick it a couple of times.
I probably said accept the modifications as presented, and then we added the backside of that motion.
I think it was
Yes.
adopt the,
Yeah, so,
Yeah. So we can sit there and reaffirm that this,
well, it happened, it's just got written down.
You still have the tape of it?
Not after tonight.
no,
Well, we haven't put it yet, so you
it's
still.
being recorded over as we speak.
yeah. So we just need to add,
Take it.
I think it's Viganowski motion that we adopt the township plan of recent changes proposed by the township labor attorney on the table. That was on the table for review.
yes,
The word adopt, I think, is what was missed. That's good English, Andy. Missed.
Motion we adopt
yes.
and then continue on.
I believe that's what you said, wasn't it, Dave?
Yeah, something like
Sounds very lawyer-esque, but must
that. I
be.
would've said we adopt the proposed changes as presented.
Motion to
Amended,
approve the minutes as
amended, support.
We have a motion by McDonald, supported by Vaganowski, to approve the February 20th, 25 minutes as amended. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
No.
Okay, motion passes 5-1. Thank you. Next item. Okay, I just buried my agenda.
TCAT property tax agreement.
Oh, yes, business TCAPs. Andy? I believe this is in your, presentation.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, we have two page ones and no page twos, but do you have a page two laying around?
I gave everything I got to you, Jude, so I don't.
Well, there's nowhere to sign.
It's just a renewal of the standard
It's on the back.
deal.
Did you not read the back?
I don't have a back, no, not on my copy. But didn't we talk about this last time? We said we don't have the actual document, this is the actual document. And yeah, we do it all the time and whatever. I wanted to see the $250 per parcel in writing.
I think that's what this was.
It's right there.
What?
It wasn't in the last one that we did. I think I reached out to TCAPS to get all the information so that we had the documents that,
So you have one with a
Dave wanted.
signature page, fine. I
Yep.
didn't get it.
I make a motion that we enter into the summer property tax agreement for 2025-2026 as presented with the signature page on Judy's packet.
Second.
We have a motion by Merrick, supported by Kramer, to approve the agreement for collection of summer property taxes 2025-2026. Written?
Yep.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Radke,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Merrick,
Yes.
Viganowski,
Yes.
and Kramer, yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. The next item. I don't know if you recall, but a couple months back, we had some residents come in and, make comments in regards to the sign that we have at the corner of 10th Street and J. Matty Parkway that's located on a piece of property that we do not have ownership of. It's been there for decades. And I went to investigate how putting what's there, memorializing what we have now in writing, so it becomes part of the record. Unless somebody else can recollect an agreement or something that they may have tucked away in a packet they kept. Yeah, I didn't think so.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the township supervisor to sign this letter of understanding.
Yes.
Letter of understanding with the Interlochen Bible Church, to memorialize the ongoing agreement for the signs that are mutually agreeable for both parties. Second.
We have a motion by Merrick, supported by McDonald, to authorize the signing of the letter of understanding in regards to the sign. Did I present it well enough?
Yep, for memorializing that, for discussion, this is a gentleman's agreement, okay? In 6 months, either side can go out of it. That sign location, especially if Judy wants to spend all this money on a really nice sign that changes words and all that stuff, the proper way to do this is with an easement, so that the church can't revoke it with 6 months' notice. So think about an easement, and again, they're not gonna do an easement without you paying them, but if we're gonna dump 15 grand, whatever, on a nice changeable LED sign, we might ask them.
It's about 23.5.
Okay, well, even put that kind of money in, you probably want an easement.
We've been looking for a long time and trying to figure out how we're gonna do it, that's why it's not done. Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, let's do a roll call on this, please.
Why not?
Yeah.
West. McDonald.
Yes.
Merrick.
Yes.
Biganowski.
Yes.
Kramer, yes, and Radke.
Yes, motion carries. Okay. Next item, under new business is it Saxony? Which was explained when it was placed on the agenda. Does everybody have an understanding of that?
Yeah, let's not belabor it. I'll make a motion that we switch the signature cards to the current officials.
Support.
We have a motion by Baganowski, supported by Merrick, to switch the signature cards to the current officials. Any discussion, Pat?
It's listed down there as Andy Merrick, Judith Kramer, and Pamela Bulkey. And the minutes do need to reflect those names, please.
Yep, I think she just had to spell in your name. Pat?
Somebody gonna do an analysis to see if this investment should be closed down?
We're closing the account as soon as we get the signatures changed.
Okay.
The analysis has been done.
Alright.
Yes, I think it was referenced in Jill's presentation or comments in that regards there. I'll put it into the Huntington.
I'm a little gun shy pulling all the money and putting it in one. I'm now comfortable, having seen how the flow between the two goes. It's fairly easy to get money into an account if we need it with Huntington. So we're gonna be shifting all the accounts to Huntington.
With that being said, as long as we have Judith Kramer, Pam Balkening, and Andy Merrick in this motion, so we can take the minutes to the bank for their records. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's do a roll call, please.
McDonald.
Yeah.
Merrick.
Yep.
Biganowski.
Yes.
Kramer, yes. Radke.
Yes.
And West.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. I don't have anything else under new business, so we move on to the next item is discussion, and on there I have placed Duck Lake Dam. We've been talking about this for quite some time. Worked with the County Board of Commissioners back late last summer. They authorized the county administrator to work with Green Lake Township to come to an agreement of maintaining the lake level. That's been court ordered since 1960, give or take a year, if I recall. And so, we were willing to have a staff member go down, because we're only 5 minutes away, 7 minutes away, compared to the drain commissioner having to come out side by side. Well, I'm sorry, we've had this discussion. The first agreement was submitted to the attorneys for review. They went, oh, no, don't even touch this with a 10-foot pole. So we had the county administrator come out to the township office, met with him, and
inform the county that we're not gonna take over the Duck Lake Dam. They wanted it,
I'll
they can have
support
it.
that.
Motion by Bagnowski, supported by Merrick to not enter into an agreement with Grand Traverse County for Duck Lake Dam.
Not to take over the dam is what you said. That
Any
was
of
my
this.
support. I withdraw my support then.
What do
I
you-
don't wanna take it over. If they want help maintaining it, I'm more than happy to have any one of us go down there and put a board in or take it out. I don't wanna own the dam, be responsible for maintenance of the dam, have any liability of the
That's
dam.
status quo, that you want status quo.
We can't go change the board.
Dude,
That is
we
not
want
our
status
authorization.
quo, they're asking us to change status quo, my motion was for status quo, that we reject whatever their offer was, which means it stays a status quo, they do it.
Second. No, you got your second.
Motion by Bagnowski, supported by McDonald. Any further discussion? Any additional clarification?
I have a question. Who is responsible?
I'm gonna allow this just because of, I see some Duck Lake representatives here, and on the respect, if you go up to the podium, state your name, please, and address for the record.
I'm Ted Klinashevsky. I live on, in the area, and I also am part of the association. And I would like some clarification on the access road and whether when you've done any of this, has anybody clarified who has jurisdiction over the accesses to Duck Lake Road? Is it the Green Lake Township Board, or is it the DNR, or is it us as the association? Because this is the road that they use to drive to the dam and deal with the dam.
There's only one legal access, and that was across the Interlochen Center of the Arts property that we just acquired here a couple of years back. That goes along, the stream side.
Oh, well, the access that's used is the one to the, down.
That's a road end into the water's edge.
Yeah, that's the access that's used,
Yeah,
that is crossed, Michael and Trillium's property there, the dam house, as we call it.
So that's that nice house that they come up every couple weekends a year.
No, they live in Poland, actually, but there's somebody living there right now. But, so that is not the legal access to get to the dam?
Well, the legal access is that, 15-foot easement that we just acquired a couple years back, and it has nothing to do with Green Lake Township, it has nothing to do with Green Lake Duck Lake Association. It has everything to do with Grand Traverse County's,
So they're just
requirements.
using that out of convenience?
Probably,
Okay,
but an easement has been granted, that's
so,
for.
so the township has no claims to using the access road there at the end of Duck Lake Dam Road? The township doesn't?
I'd have to double check with our assessor to see if there's, who has legal.
Yes, I've been trying to
Okay.
figure this out for 5 years, man. But yes,
But we haven't utilized that.
the county does.
Yeah, so that's
Okay.
something with.
So that was not part of your discussion. That's the only thing I wanted to.
Yeah, no, that's not part of our discussion or anything of that nature there. I know there was a handshake agreement with Mr. Thomas and Mr. Fitzgerald, the previous supervisor in that. He was the administrator of the dam removal, board removal of the dams.
You just say, I don't know, Mark, how about that?
No, I'm not
No,
gonna say
no,
that.
I'm just,
Yep, I'm putting it in perspective, and as you put it in perspective for us.
thank you.
Yes. Okay, Pat?
Did we get as far, did we run this past our insurance company by any chance?
Like I said, be prepared. Reach into our pockets. So that's another endeavor.
I've seen the DNR whack these homeowners associations that have dams. I mean, whack, like, oh, we need $3 million to fix your dam. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Well,
That's not our homeowners.
I did talk with the state individuals. I was down in Lansing, and they have no record of this dam. And there is some funds left in the SAD district. I think somewhere near $15,000-18,000
auction it away to get title to it, they can have it.
Yeah. So, at this point in time, I believe the negotiations have,
All right, next
Hold on.
items.
Did we vote?
well, we have another,
No, just, Ken Schoenhoff, I'm president of the homeowners association on Duck Lake Peninsula, and I just would like clarification. So what you're saying is that responsibility for the dam rests with the drain commissioner?
no,
No,
I'm saying the responsibility of the dam rests with Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners.
okay, all right, so that's change was made.
Which means
Well-
the drain commissioner is probably the one that's going to take care of it, because he certainly.
It was in the court order, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's in,
Okay,
it's in the court order.
Mhm.
yeah,
That's
so,
what's been taking the boards out,
Right.
putting them in.
Right.
It was Larson and then the guy that replaced it.
it used to be
Largent.
Steve Largent,
Steve
Kevin
Largent.
McKillier,
Schmitz was the last of the,
Andy Schmitz is still in it,
is still in.
correct.
Okay, great, thank you.
So, yeah, I like your head, I think I got one like it. All in
What is the motion again, please, because I'm not clear.
status quo.
To reject any offers from the county.
Check any out from the county.
Motion by Baganowski, supported by McDonald. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no, right? Or
No.
Andy? Thank you, motion carries.
So discussion with the county is over then.
That's of the proposals, correct. Let's see, I have nothing else under discussion. Anybody else have anything under discussion? Any correspondence? Hearing none, public comment. Here's your last opportunity. I'd ask that you rise, go to the podium, state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes, Mr. Dewey. Sir.
We'll do that. My name is Ed Dewey, I'm at 5253 Bush Road. I'm here tonight representing the Green Lake and Duck Lake Association. And I just, I don't know how the county drain commissioner can get out of the court order from 1958 that was then reestablished in 2017. But what I'd like to say is that the Lake Association is more than willing to do whatever it is we can do to help both the county or the township to, used to be when Largent was there, I'd take pictures of the dam and the plate and let them know where it was and when it needed to go in and out, and we'd help put the boards in and out, and we were told we couldn't use that easement anymore, so we quit doing that and they put a padlock on the boards. But the Lake Association is more than willing to help in any way we can to manage the dam and keep the county drain commissioner or whoever from having to drive out and look at it. We're happy to put our waders on, put the boards in and out, do whatever it is we can. We also, we also have, depth gauges on both lakes that you can monitor through our website, gladla.org, that you can see the weekly level of both lakes, and we have a 2-year comparison level out there that shows the comparison of the levels of both lakes and how they work together as the dam boards go in and out. And there's clear data out there on lake levels that we could use if we wanted to change lake levels and things like that. But from the Lake Association, we're happy to play with it, but we've been told we can't use that little easement that goes to the dam. That's it.
Very good. I do believe there's a 12-foot differential between the elevation of Duck Lake and Green Lake, just for
Yep.
points of interest, so there lies in itself a concern in the event something.
You use a board
transpires.
right now.
Yeah, so, anything else? Any other discussion, any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Scott Richards, 11802 Fred Meyer, Interlocking. Like to see all the new faces tonight. I wish we keep getting more new faces here. I have a flyer here for the Grand Traverse Republican Party. It's our 3rd annual Second Amendment dinner and auction. We have some cool prizes. And center. So if anybody's interested, that QR code